Hey, before we get into today's episode, if you're a podcast host or guest, listen up. I've produced over 200 podcast episodes and guested on 50 podcasts just in 2025 alone. And let me tell you, nothing grows your audience or builds trust faster than being in front of the right listeners. That's why I created my podcast tour offer. I'll help you map out your topics, strategize your message, and find you the most aligned podcasts and audiences to get you and your business in front of. So if you've ever thought, I just wish more eyes were on my work, this is your sign. Let's get you on a podcast tour. You can find all the details in the show notes. Just look for podcast tour. Now let's dive into today's episode. Okay, guesting on podcasts can absolutely grow your business. Having guests on your podcast can also help grow your podcast. There's a lot of growth that can happen on both sides of the coin when you have a guest on your show or you be a guest on other shows. If you're not doing this though, and showing up in front of the right audiences, this is going to be a waste of time and energy. This is going to not convert or be as awesome as you would hope or that it could be for you. So saying yes to any show or guesting opportunity just for visibility's sake is a mistake that a lot of people make. It can even confuse your audience. Okay, I get asked all the time, does it matter the guests I have on my podcast? Is it okay for me to say no to certain guests that want to be on my show? The answer I always say is absolutely. When you have a guest on your podcast, it's like telling your audience, I vet this person, I trust this person. You can trust them too. I've built trust with you. You can trust them because you trust me. It's this whole web of getting seen by the right people and making sure that they're aligned if they're going to be on your show. And you need to protect that because otherwise you're burning bridges with your audience and then they're not going to trust you. And that's something we don't want to go down. Now, that's true when we are hosting our own shows and we're having guests on. It's also true if you want to be a guest on podcasts. I am not a fan of just saying yes to every show just for the sake of visibility. There's a much better opportunity for your visibility and growth of your business if we're saying yes to shows that are aligned with us, because not every audience is your audience. And so being mismatched in interviews leads to no traction and it leads to people tuning out. And it's just going to be a waste of time for both parties. So making sure that audience, that show, that host is aligned with you. And if you're the host, if the guest is aligned with you, you want that overlap that your audiences can match in some way, because that's going to be easier for the listeners to choose to be in your audience, whether you're being a guest on someone else's show or having guests on yours. Which leads me to my next point, that quality always is better than quantity. 5 perfectly aligned podcast appearances, hands down, are going to convert better for you than 50 random ones. And actually, I will take it a step further and say those random ones could potentially confuse the bejesus out of your audience, because likely those hosts and those shows are going to tag you on social media. They're going to collaborate with you on there. They're going to be posting things about the episode. And if they're random, that also means you're probably talking about random things. And you may or may not be aligned with their type of audience. Now, people on your page that see this, they might get confused. We don't want confused people because then they don't buy and they don't stick around. They don't trust you when they're confused, right? Confusion is not a good thing. So making sure that that's aligned, it also is going to keep you from burning out, because if you are just being on as many shows or having as many guests on your podcast as you can and just aiming for numbers, you're going to always move the goalposts. You're always going to say more. And at what point do you not have more time and capacity for that? I live the solopreneur life. I have 3 young kids. They're involved in a million things. I'm currently coaching my 4th grade daughter and 5th grade son's basketball team. So I'm in the gym 3 nights a week, sometimes 4 when we have tournaments, for like 3 hours at a time. And I do not have time to guest on a million podcasts every week, but a line podcast, 100%, because that's how you get people to immediately book with you or immediately start following you. So how do you know if the podcast is aligned? Well, look at their audience. Who's listening to that show and who's in your audience? Do they match at all? Is their tone, are their values and the topics they're talking about, is that of show you would want to listen to? Would your people want to listen to it? Do they not have the same values as you? These are questions we're asking ourselves as we're finding these shows, listening to podcasts, engaging with people. Check their engagement in their community. Go to their social media. Go to their Instagram. What's the vibe like over there? So you can, again, hire me, tap into my network. I can do this for you, or you can go and do this. It's not hard. Sometimes people want done for you, and I offer that. But that's what you're going to look for. Go look for it. Get the vibe check. It matters. This also applies if you're a host and you have someone asked to be on your show, or you're going to bring a guest on. You need to go check them out just as much as I just said that a guest needs to go check out the podcast. You need to go check out the guest. Are they going to help your brand? Is it going to be like a match made in heaven? This is super aligned and it makes sense that your audience are going to cross over, or no? So if it's misaligned, you have to say no. You have to just trust your gut. Protect your audience's trust. That is the biggest deal here. But what can happen when we get this right as a host and or as a guest? When we get this right, these conversations feel magical. You will get done with the recording and be like, wow, that was the fastest hour in my day. That was so fun. I can't believe that we've been talking for an hour or 45 minutes, whatever it is. The conversations will be easy. Your connection will be awesome, which means your network is growing. People that are going to cheer you on, tag you, refer you when your topic, as long as you have a specific topic plan, make sure you go listen to my episode on picking your niche speaking topics. So if you do, then you're going to be top of mind for that topic when that host gets asked about a referral. They're going to tag you on threads. They're going to tag you when people are talking about your topic and say, hey, go talk to Sally. Go talk to Candace. That's how you're going to get higher conversions. That's how this can be a business strategy. That's how this can be a visibility strategy, because you will be remembered. And you also might be re-invited back because of it. So other ripples that might happen that I've seen firsthand this past year is you might then be invited to speak to their membership and then be invited to speak at the virtual summit. There's a lot of things that can happen when things go right, and you are then both rising the tides together. You're both seeing an increase of people in your audience. So when it's done right, that's what should be happening. So if it's not, we need to pivot. We need to get more aligned. We need to get more specific with what we're talking about and what our ideal clients are. But to wrap this up, it's all about being intentional when you guest or when you have guests on your show. And if you want help strategizing this, you can book a one-off call with me and we can do that. If you're a host and you want help with this, 100% I'm all in. I have 4 years of experience chatting. I love talking shop and figuring this out and what's going to move the needle forward with your podcast and your business. Jump on board with that. That'll be in the show notes for hosts and guests. Hey, before you go, if you've ever wished podcast guesting or hosting felt a little easier, you're going to love this. I started a free podcast matchmaking community where hosts and guests can actually connect, swap shows, and find aligned conversations without all the cold pitching and chaos. It's totally free, it's super fun, and it's growing every day. So whether you're looking to grow your audience, get in front of the right people, or just finally get your message out there, come join us. You can find the link in the show notes to join the community.